Welcome to the 2017-2018 NBA preview. Finally in the top 3. My name is Josh, your enviers. Today we're covering the 3rd seeded Western Conference team and 3rd overall team, the San Antonio Spurs. Like always, huge inspiration to Grantland for this series idea. And also, like usual, the series is based off of regular season wins and losses. And last season, the San Antonio Spurs had a total of 61 games. And this was without Tony Parker. This was with the struggling LaMarcus Aldridge. This was with the injured Pau Gasol, and guys like Dwayne Dedmon and Jonathan Simmons were able to step up. This season, I don't know if I could see the Spurs team winning 61 games. I say possibly 58, maybe 60 if they're lucky. There's a lot of injuries, and by a lot I mean their starting point guard Tony Parker is going to be out at least until Christmas, maybe longer. It'll be interesting to see if Kawhi Leonard is able to be a point forward of today's NBA. I mean, he kind of was last season, and he probably will be this season as well with Tony Parker being out. Handling the ball, dribbling the basketball up the court. He's becoming into one of those very few players that are able to do it, and it's amazing to watch. So let's see if he's able to do it this season, and also let's take a look at the offseason moves that the Spurs did to improve. So here are some of the key players the Spurs acquired in the offseason. Rudy Gay and Lauvergne, along with not being able to get CP3 in the offseason. But hey, it's cool. We got BP3, Brandon Paul. They also lost key rotation players in Jonathan Simmons, Dwayne Dedmon, and David Lee, who was huge for the Spurs in playoffs, along with drafting Derek White with the 29th pick, who I'm not so sure about, but it's the Spurs, so I have trust that they draft well, and Blossom Game with the 59th pick, who probably won't be seeing any minutes with the Spurs organization. Moving on to the rotation, the starting 5 is exactly the same. Minus Tony Parker, who will be out for a foreseeable future, maybe until Christmas, maybe sooner, and probably DeJounte Murray will be that starting point guard for the San Antonio Spurs until he gets back. So Parker at the point guard once he gets healthy, Danny Green, Kawhi Leonard, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Pau Gasol. That's a solid starting 5. But we take a look at the bench. We have Patty Mills, Manu Ginobili, Rudy Gay, Kyle Anderson, and Lauvergne. Pretty solid bench depth that they do have. Rudy Gay is going to be a huge question mark because you don't know if he's going to be able to perform well with this Spurs team or perform really bad. Rudy Gay is kind of like a curse to a lot of teams. I mean, just look with him with the Toronto Raptors. He was scoring points, but they weren't doing anything. Once they traded him, they took the next step. Sacramento Kings, he was scoring points, but they weren't really doing anything. So they traded him, or not traded, but they let him walk. Traded DeMarcus Cousins, and now they're in a rebuilding mode and are looking good for the future. So hopefully the San Antonio Spurs system works for Rudy Gay. So a healthy roster, you can't underestimate the Spurs. You know, they're there every single year. But my question for the Spurs is, who's going to be rebounding for this team? That's their huge flaw, in my opinion. So as we just looked at the rotation for the San Antonio Spurs, I wanted to hold back on my thoughts on that center position and their bigs, because this has been a key problem for the San Antonio Spurs the past few years. For some odd reason, they don't like signing defensive and rebounding bigs. It's weird. It's pretty sad to say, but Thiago Splitter was probably the best rebounding big the Spurs have had in the past few years. Pau Gasol is getting older. He's going to be 37 this season. He's not going to give you a double-double anymore like he did with Chicago. He's a good passer, but he's slow. He's not going to be blocking a lot of these athletic wings that drive into the paint. And Lauvergne, I haven't watched many games on him, but he's kind of like a younger version of Pau Gasol with more range to his game. I know when he was coming into the league with the Denver Nuggets, apparently he was the French Kevin Love, and that title, I'm not sure how I feel about that title, but hopefully this year with the San Antonio Spurs, he can play like a French version of Kevin Love. That'd be great, because I don't know if Lauvergne is the best rebounder. He's a nice stretch big, but the Spurs don't need that. They need a solid defensive rebounding big. They have 0 of that on their roster. It's a problem when LaMarcus Aldridge is your best rebounding big. That's bad. That's really bad. It's going to be interesting to see who steps up. I honestly feel like the Spurs are lacking a big, so maybe later down the road they could go out and pick one up in free agency, trade a guy away. Kyle Anderson definitely needs to play this season and show out, have an improved season, because last year was a down year for his 3rd season. A lot of things need to go right for the San Antonio Spurs team, but just like last year, I feel like Kawhi Leonard can carry this team by himself. You can never count out the San Antonio Spurs. They're always there. So with that said, only 2 more episodes to go. The next episode is the Golden State Warriors. I'm just kidding. It might be. Leave a like on this video and tune in tomorrow to find out. Before you go, check out some of these other videos on screen right now, featuring the NBA previews past episodes. The link is in the description for the NBA preview playlist in case you want to watch the rest of the series, along with my Twitter. Follow me on Twitter at @NViewers if you want to chat it up about the preview or anything basketball related. I'll talk to you guys in the next one.